10 gun companies ranked worst to best. By the time we hit number 1, you might not see it coming because the top brand wasn't built by a gunsmith. Let's start at the bottom with the brand every gun forum loves to mock. Number 10. Hi-Point Firearms. Walk into almost any gun shop and mention Hi-Point and you'll probably get a laugh. The company was founded in the early 1990s by Tom Deeb out of a small factory in Mansfield, Ohio, with one simple goal: build a semi-automatic pistol that actually works for under $200. To hit that price, Hi-Point used a thick polymer frame, a steel-reinforced zinc alloy slide, and a chunky blowback design that makes the gun heavier and bulkier than it has any right to be. It is, by almost every account, an ugly firearm, and it looks even uglier next to the sleek striker-fired pistols dominating gun store counters today. Early production runs in the mid-2000s earned Hi-Point a reputation for rough edges and feeding problems. And the internet never really let that go, turning the brand into a running meme, complete with nicknames the company now leans into rather than fights. But here's the twist. Owners who actually put thousands of rounds through these guns report something the jokes conveniently leave out. The things keep running. Hi-Point backs every firearm, from the C9 pistol to its carbine lineup chambered in 9mm, 40 caliber and 45, with a lifetime warranty that's transferable even to a second owner, and industry return rates suggest the reliability holds up better than the reputation implies. It is not refined. It is not pretty. Hi-Point even leaned into the joke a few years back, letting fans vote online to nickname one of its newest pistols, and the winning name stuck as a badge of honor rather than an insult. But as the budget option that keeps firing long after prettier, pricier guns have jammed, Hi-Point earns the bottom spot on this list for looks and refinement alone, not for actually failing its owners. Number 9. Taurus. Taurus is a Brazilian manufacturer, formerly known as Forges Taurus, best known in America for the Judge, a revolver oddball enough to fire a .41-ish shotgun shell out of a handgun frame. Unfortunately, the brand is just as well known for a level of legal trouble most manufacturers never come close to. In 2013, Taurus recalled 98,000 pistols sold to Brazilian police after they were found capable of firing without the trigger being pulled. That same defect surfaced again in the United States. A class action lawsuit filed in Florida alleged that 9 separate Taurus handgun models, including the popular Millennium and 24/7 series, could discharge if dropped or even while the manual safety was engaged. Taurus eventually agreed to recall close to 1 million pistols and pay a settlement worth up to $239 million, one of the largest safety-related payouts in the industry's history. And the pattern didn't stop there. In 2023, the compact GX4 pistol, marketed as an everyday carry option, became the subject of a fresh class action lawsuit alleging the exact same kind of uncommanded discharge, with attorneys claiming Taurus sat on the complaints for more than a year before issuing a public notice. It's a shame in some ways, because Taurus also builds genuinely interesting revolvers, like the massive Raging Bull hunting revolver, and the company has repeatedly promised improved manufacturing standards after each settlement. For a company that genuinely makes affordable, feature-packed handguns at prices few rivals can match, it's the recalls and the courtroom history that keep dragging Taurus toward the bottom of this list. Number 8. Remington. Remington is one of the oldest gun companies in America, founded in 1816 by Eliphalet Remington in Ilion, New York, and for most of 2 centuries the name stood for dependable hunting rifles and shotguns, like the bolt-action Model 700 and the 870 pump shotgun found in gun safes across the country. This was a company that also supplied rifles to American soldiers in both world wars and, oddly enough, once built typewriters under the same corporate roof. But the last 20 years turned that legacy upside down. After private equity firms bought the company and loaded it with debt under the Freedom Group and later Remington outdoor banners, quality control on the factory floor slipped, and the company's finances got progressively worse. Then came the December 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School, carried out with a Remington-manufactured Bushmaster rifle. Victims' families sued the company, arguing its marketing had recklessly targeted a military-style weapon at civilian buyers. And after nearly 8 years working through the courts, Remington's insurers agreed to a $73 million settlement in 2022, the first time a gun manufacturer had been held financially responsible in connection with a mass shooting. By then, Remington had already filed for bankruptcy twice, once in 2018 and again in 2020, and its factories, trademarks, and product lines were split apart and auctioned off to different buyers. A gunmaker that once symbolized reliable American craftsmanship became, instead, a case study in what crushing debt and legal exposure can do to a 200-year-old name. Number 7. SIG Sauer. SIG Sauer traces its roots back to a Swiss industrial firm founded in the 1850s that later merged with a German gunmaker named Sauer, and its American arm now runs a sprawling, modern operation out of Newington, New Hampshire, complete with its own training academy. For a while, it looked unstoppable. In 2017, the company's P320 pistol beat out Glock's own submission to win the U.S. Army's modular handgun system contract, becoming the official M17 and M18 sidearm and replacing the Beretta M9 after more than 3 decades of that pistol's service. That should have been the crowning achievement in SIG's history. Instead, the P320 became the center of one of the most consequential handgun controversies of the decade. Independent testing and internal company documents showed early production versions of the pistol could fire when dropped at certain angles onto the rear of the slide, and lawsuits alleging uncommanded discharges piled up by the hundreds, with juries in Pennsylvania and Georgia awarding millions of dollars in damages. Agencies including ICE, the Houston Police Department, and several branches of the U.S. military have restricted, banned, or paused use of the pistol at different points over the past few years. SIG maintains publicly that the P320 cannot fire without the trigger first being pulled, and points to a voluntary upgrade program it launched back in 2017 as proof the issue was addressed. The pistol still wins praise for its trigger feel, its modularity, and sheer sales numbers on gun store shelves, and the U.S. military continues fielding the M17 and M18 without incident at scale. But a defensive handgun lives or dies on trust and the ongoing litigation, along with a wave of law enforcement agencies quietly switching back to other brands, is exactly what keeps SIG Sauer out of the top half of this list. Number 6. Smith & Wesson, founded in 1852 by Horace Smith and Daniel Wesson in Springfield, Massachusetts. This is one of the true pillars of American gunmaking. Smith & Wesson built the world's first practical cartridge revolver, later pioneered the .357 Magnum in the 1930s, and in 1955 released the Model 29 chambered in .44 Magnum, at the time the most powerful production handgun on Earth. That single revolver turned into a household name far beyond the shooting world once Clint Eastwood carried one in Dirty Harry, and gun shops struggled to keep it in stock for years afterward. 10 years later, Smith & Wesson introduced the Model 60, the first stainless steel revolver ever produced, kicking off an entire category of corrosion-resistant firearms that dominates the market today. The company still runs its own training academy in Springfield alongside a public shooting sports center, and its product line now stretches from compact concealed carry pistols to AR platform rifles, and its reputation sits comfortably in the middle of the pack. Number 5. Colt. Samuel Colt patented the revolving cylinder mechanism in 1836, and the company he built in Hartford, Connecticut, went on to arm the American West with a single-action Army revolver, nicknamed the Peacemaker. In the 20th century, Colt's M1911 pistol served as the standard U.S. military sidearm for more than 70 years, and the Colt-designed M16 and M4 rifles carried American soldiers through Vietnam and every major conflict since. Collectors still chase the Colt Python revolver from the mid-20th century, often nicknamed the Rolls-Royce of revolvers for its hand-fitted precision. Few names in firearms history carry that kind of historical weight, but the modern business side of Colt has been rocky, to put it mildly. The company filed for bankruptcy in 1992 and again in 2015, both times after losing major military contracts and buckling under heavy debt piled on by private ownership groups chasing short-term profit. The 2015 filing alone listed as much as $500 million in debt, a staggering number for a company that once outfitted the entire U.S. military. Number 4. Ruger. Bill Ruger and Alexander Sturm founded their company in 1949 out of a small rented shop in Southport, Connecticut, with just $50,000 in seed money and one product on the drawing board: the Ruger Standard, .22 caliber pistol, borrowing design ideas from the Japanese Nambu and the German Luger. From day one, Ruger built its reputation on a simple formula: reliable guns that ordinary working people could actually afford, using investment casting to keep manufacturing costs down without cutting corners on durability. That formula produced the 10-22 rifle in 1964, still one of the best-selling rimfire rifles in American history, along with the rugged GP100 and Red Hawk revolvers, the ranch-friendly Mini 14 favored by farmers and some law enforcement units, and the compact LCP pocket pistols that rode the concealed carry boom of the past 2 decades and ended up carried by millions of everyday people today. Ruger has largely avoided the kind of scandal and recall history that drags down other names on this list. Number 3. Beretta. Before the United States existed, before the Mayflower ever crossed the Atlantic, Beretta was already making firearms. Founded in 1526 when master gunmaker Bartolomeo Beretta agreed to supply barrels to the Republic of Venice, the company is based in the town of Gardone Val Trompia in northern Italy, and it remains the oldest firearms manufacturer still operating anywhere in the world, run by the same family through 15 generations. Beretta supplied weapons through Europe's major wars for the next 5 centuries, surviving occupation during World War II, when German forces briefly arrested the company's leader, Pietro Beretta, before Italian partisans stepped in to rescue him. Away from military contracts, Beretta's shotguns remain a fixture on Olympic trap and skeet ranges worldwide, a quieter but equally important piece of the company's reputation. In 1985, Beretta's .92 pistol won the contract to become the U.S. military's official M9 sidearm, replacing the Colt 1911 and staying in frontline service for more than 3 decades. Manufactured domestically first in Maryland and later in Tennessee. Number 2. Heckler and Koch. Founded in 1949 in Oberndorf, Germany, Heckler and Koch built its reputation on some of the most respected small arms ever produced, starting with the G3 battle rifle that went on to be adopted by more than 80 countries during the Cold War. The MP5 submachine gun, developed through the mid-1960s, has been adopted by more than 40 nations and became the weapon of choice for hostage rescue and counterterrorism units worldwide after its dramatic use during the 1980 Iranian embassy siege in London. The USP pistol, and later rifles like the HK416 used by elite special operations units and the G95 currently issued to Germany's own Bundeswehr, cemented the company's reputation for near-obsessive engineering standards. Ask any serious shooter, and they'll tell you an H&K rarely fails when it actually matters, but that German engineering has always come at German prices. Number 1. Glock. Gaston Glock was born in Vienna in 1929, and for most of his working life, he had absolutely nothing to do with firearms. He ran a small factory that made curtain rods, knife handles, and equipment for the Austrian military. and he had never designed a gun in his life. In the early 1980s, he spent the following months working nights alone in his own basement. In 1981, he filed the patent for his design, his 17th patent overall, which is where the name Glock 17 actually comes from. It has nothing to do with the magazine holding 17 rounds. That's just a coincidence people love to repeat online. The pistol beat out established, well-funded designs from Beretta, SIG and Sauer in the Austrian military trials, using a lightweight polymer frame, a remarkably low parts count, and a built-in trigger safety system Glock, called Safe Action. American police departments, skeptical at first of what critics dismissed as a plastic toy, started switching over through the late 1980s and into the 1990s once officers saw how little maintenance the thing actually needed in the field. Critics mocked the pistol as an oversized piece of Tupperware when it first landed on American shores. Today, the Glock is the single most common handgun carried by American law enforcement and one of the best-selling pistols on the entire planet.